My brother, can you believe 40 years we've been in this camp business all the way from our summer camps, spring camps. Now we're doing PE, superstar camp that we did a long time ago. I'm like, sometimes I just think how time has gone by and what we've accomplished.
No kidding, man. 2 million kids.
2 million.
2 million
That's
kids
crazy.
had a better life because we've been able to chase this around. You know, it's funny watching the evolution of doing this so long and coming from the heart that we came from with kids as kids and how we've gone through the process. And I love the fact that we get summer 2025, man. Here it comes, right? It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think we have a lot of opportunity to carry on the mission that we've been trying to promote for so long, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely.
here's the deal, parents. Got some questions for us.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna let you, I'm gonna rapid fire some questions at you and I'm gonna let you have at it. Okay?
Let's do it, man.
All right,
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
So go for the first one. It's kind of a multifaceted question.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to get it all in, okay?
All right.
They want to know who's coaching their kids, what is the camper to coach ratio, how much individual time they may get.
All right, let me go one by one.
Yeah, that's three.
So who's coaching?
Yeah, who's coaching?
So as you know, we recruit local athletes, and we bring kids in that have played sports, that have that energy, that enthusiasm, and we bring them in and we train them on our system, right? So they're going to go through our talk, teach, play training because that's the foundation for Coach Wooden's system, and we're going to take that, and they're also going to do the mandated reporter, the concussion protocol, the bully prevention, all those things, and fingerprint background check. So we know we're creating a safe environment. So that's number one. The camper to coach ratio, I think, was the second question, right?
Yeah, and because parents are always the individual attention. How much attention are my kids really getting?
Yeah, this is not one-on-one, right? This is recreational sports programs to help the kids fall in love with playing it, right? Yeah. But what we try to do, a kindergarten class for littles is maybe 25-1, and again man, thank you for your service if you're a teacher, by the way, right? Absolutely. Yeah, man. So ours is 10-1 for the littles. Okay. Yeah, so junior academy is 10-1. We think that works really well, and then 14-1 for the bigs. And what that does is it allows us to, as we set up our program, and then again part of the training, instead of having like one line of 10, which ain't going to work, or two lines of 5 even, because it's about experiential learning. So what we do is we will do 5 lines. We've got 10 kids. We'll do 5 lines of 2. So the first one is getting that experience, and the second one is learning from the success and failure of the first. And that's how we put this together and keep it going.
That's awesome. And then the concept of young and small.
Oh yeah.
Versus putting bigger kids together. I mean, how does that fit in? If there's much older kids in camp, what happens in that kind of situation?
Because in the old days, it didn't matter if you're 5, 7 years old, and we all just played together. But that's a different environment. So we set it up. We bring them in and we divide them up based on age and ability. So we're not going to have a 4-year-old with a 12-year-old. That doesn't make any sense for anybody. That's not going to work. That being said, we try to each group them 2 to 3 years max space, put them together, and if we got 30 or 40 kids in camp, we'll have 3 or 4 different groups working together, because ultimately we want the kids to have a positive experience. We want them to be challenged every day, right, to do their best every day. But this whole concept of playing up, I'm not sure if that's going to work in this recreational camp space. We want them to develop the confidence and all those other factors by being able to play with like skill leveled kids. And sometimes they're going to lead, and sometimes they're going to follow, and it's going to work out that way.
One of the other things we're getting a lot of that from parents now is my kids never played sports before. How will they fit it? Because that's a lot of that's going on now because less kids are participating, right? Yeah. So they want to know if my kids, how will it work?
Man, thanks, Mom, whoever said that in.
Good question.
Yeah, good question. If you don't have a sports kid, I get it. Maybe they're not into it or what's going on. So my thought is that you don't know if they're a sports kid until they play.
Point.
And our philosophy is very important. If I'm a parent, I don't think there's any better life skill teaching tool than youth sports, right? So let's get them in it. That's the first thing. Second thing I think is vital is that start them in a recreational program, a National Academy of Athletics camp, not a league. I wouldn't even sign up for a league yet. Get them and find out if they like it enough. Talk to them about it, right? And then let them. And by the way, sports sampling is so important right now. Trying lots of different sports, like we did, man. We played everything back in the day, right? And this is how we started to figure it out. And we. So if we can duplicate that through the National Academy of Athletics camps, and recreational camps is definitely the way to go. They're going to develop an understanding of the concept of the game, the rules, the boundaries, and hand-eye coordination, all those other factors. start there first. That will give them the chance to develop a sense of confidence, success, resiliency, where they're going to want to stick with it to when it really becomes fun.
Good answer, brother. I'm going to break this into two parts.
Okay.
But what do we say that 6 hours is a long time? Do they get breaks? How do we handle that part of it?
Yeah. You know, I can still hear my mom saying, go outside and play, right? That's what they used to do, right?
Yeah.
Go outside and play. And then not only just go outside and play, but then come home when the street lights on. You know, you can't do that anymore. And I get that. But you know what? I do know that when they're out there for that amount of time, that the way our structure is set up, using our talk, teach, play system, nothing lasts longer than 15 minutes. So they don't even have a chance to really get bored. You know what I'm saying? So it moves quickly. Now, if you got a little, let's say first grade or younger, you know, maybe try 9 to noon. We have the half day camps because then they get a chance to get experienced and try it. But I'm going to tell you this, they're going to go to half day. They're going to say, Mom, Dad, I want to go full day. And that's okay. We can make it happen. But so that's a big part of it. If they're going to go full day, there is a lunch break. You know, it's broken up. And we do break it in. Remember, the talk, teach, play allows them to play a lot. And what do kids want to do? They want to play. So it may sound like a lot, but you'll be surprised giving them that opportunity because they're going to play a lot. They also are going to come home happy and tired if we do our job right.
Yeah, which kind of leads into the second part of this question is getting them excited, keeping them excited. So you know what? So they want to come back. So they don't come home and Mom, you know, that sucked. I don't want to come back to camp.
Yeah.
How do we? Talk about that a little bit, Jay.
You know, it goes back to Magic's camp when I ran the first time, and we got all this thing together. And he said, "What's our goal for the week?" And he said, "Win kids." And I, with that magic smile, still remember it, man. And win kids is what we're trying to do. So each day at camp, our staff has got to be enthusiastic, engaged in a way to help these kids have so much fun that they're like, you know, they don't even know they're learning hand-eye coordination or social emotional skills. They're getting the benefit without realizing the work that's going in. And so the way we do it is we focus on the effort and the joy of the play, not just the skill development. We feel that if kids fall in love with doing this, the skill development will progress as they go forward. Don't get me wrong. This is a skill-based camp. Like that's what we offer. But the focus through our certified coaches, you know what I mean, is to teach the fundamentals in such a fun way that the kids want to continue to come back. And we challenge them every day. You know, we'll challenge them to be a little better tomorrow than they were today.
And so, you know, we always talk about the effort versus the outcome necessarily. That's important. That's one of our philosophies.
Right.
Effort, right. So how do we reward and recognize kids for effort and not just the skill level or the outcome, but the effort?
And you know, if you want your child to get a trophy for showing up, unfortunately, that's not how we do it. Right? We've decided that that's not what we want to do. That being said, the rewards that we give to the kids throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the summer, is really more based on focusing on the effort of the things that we talked about, which is some of it's skill development and some of it is competition based because, you know, play is compete and we want them to learn that. But the other part of it is that we want them to develop those friendships and the social emotional stuff and the buddy system and things where these skills are going to last in the real game of life when they leave
camp. And then just the general that all parents worry about wherever their kids are safety. How do we ensure that the kids stay safe and what measures do we have in place to make sure that happens?
Safety is number one always, right? It always is. Always is. Taking care of the equipment, making sure the environment is safe and all that. But, you know, from the check-in process to the checkout process, scanning and counting, working together to make sure that we've got everything dialed in is very important. The other piece that's important is that from the check-in and the checkout, we take it from start to finish from the entire week, but also the fact that our coaches go through training certifications. I mean, they're trained from background check, concussion protocol, bully prevention, classroom management, all those factors.
Question actually never been asked before. With their carpool buddy system, I'm a single mom. How if I need my child picked up or whatever? So I've never no one's ever asked us that question before. So how would we respond to that?
Yeah, in this day and age, we're not sharing data. We all understand, but we realize that we're kind of creating a village, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a village to raise a child the right way, and we do that. So, you know, some of my best friends were people that my kids went to school with or played sports with, and we're still friends even though my kids are adults. So the idea of this to help these single parents out, to help the parents in terms of commute, when you get there, you'll have the opportunity to meet your village, to meet everybody together, and we encourage that together because that camaraderie helps the kids to help this experience to be even more sticky and make it long lasting. You know, create friendships that last much longer.
Now save this question for last because it's really something me and you are passionate about. Obviously, we're sports guys, but concept of nutrition, life lessons. What do they get out of this besides sports? You know, because I know that's a big important thing for me and you in terms of getting that across.
You know, we're not nutritionists and we're not doctors. We don't play ones on TV, so we got to be careful of how much information we can give. But we really are focused on creating a healthy lifestyle for these kids, helping them to unplug from the screen and want to play. So we're trying to create that. So on that level, we're trying to create habits that they do every day. The warm up is the same, the ritual routine they go forward that they want to carry forward. The other part, I don't think there's any better life skill teaching tool than youth sports. I really don't, especially when it's done right. And if you do it in a recreational space where it's focused on the effort rather than just winning the games, I think it's big. So for us, it's teaching them empathy. It's teaching them all these other skills, resiliency, because mom and dad aren't there and they lose that game and they pout about it. You know, our staff goes over and has a conversation. Says, okay, well, guess what? You lost that game, but guess what? We're going to have another game and another one. And so they're going to have chances to continually win, succeed, and fail throughout the entire process. And that to me is equally important than the skill development they're going to get.
So here's what I'm thinking. We've done this for 40 years. We're on a mission. We're not feeling done with that mission yet. So what do you say we do this another 40 years? What do you think?
Ooh, I don't 40, but let's keep it going. Let's do it, man. I will say this,
Okay.
having goal of 28,000 kids this summer in these programs feels really good. And I'm excited to see the impact and to send more questions in, get this feedback back through social media and all these channels because, we've done this a while and I don't know if anybody's done it more than us, but I will say this, being able to bring this forward and make this a reality for these kids' lives, doing it right on, man.
Let's keep doing it.
All right, brother.
Okay. Bye-bye.